Trump broke a ton of promises on his first day in office. There was a lot he said he'd do on day one.
Starting on day one, my first day in office.
A lot of Trump's day one promises were illegal. Many were impossible. Most of them he broke. Let's review. Number one, Trump promised he'd begin lowering prices of groceries and everything else on day one.
Prices will come down dramatically and come down fast.
But after his election, he started backing away from that. Talking to Time magazine about grocery prices, he said, quote, "I'd like to bring them down. It's hard to bring things down once they're up. You know, it's very hard." And nothing Trump did on his first day could conceivably lower prices. The best he could do was a meaningless directive to every department to see if they could come up with ideas to lower prices. Not only that, Trump moved to raise prescription drug prices by rescinding a Biden order to lower them. Promise broken. Number two, Trump said he'd end the war in Ukraine on day one. Another broken promise. Number three, Trump said on day one he'd end Biden's
insane electric vehicle mandate.
There was no Biden electric vehicle mandate, so he couldn't and didn't end it. Number four, Trump said he'd override the Constitution to end birthright citizenship on day one.
Birthright. That's a big one.
But regardless of his executive order, the president has no power to do that. Number five.
On day one, we're going to stop the transgender lunacy.
Trump did sign an executive order denying the existence of trans and non-binary people. However, no matter what Trump does to demean and endanger trans people, they will exist. He cannot will them away. Number six. Trump said on day one he'd ban trans people from schools and from sports. He does not have the power to do that. Number seven, Trump promised to ban CRT from the military. CRT usually stands for critical race theory, which is a college-level academic concept. It's not part of military training, so Trump could not ban it. The military does do combat readiness training, so it's possible Trump got confused by that CRT. Fortunately, he did not ban that either. Number eight, Trump said he'd end America's opioid epidemic.
I will take action on day one to end this horrific plague and save American lives.
We're still waiting. Number nine, Trump said on day one he'd put a 25% tariff on all goods imported from Mexico and Canada, our two biggest trading partners. It is a good thing he broke that promise because U.S. tariffs are paid by Americans, not the other country. So this would have made Americans pay a whole lot more for a wide range of goods. However, he's now threatening to impose them on February 1st. Number 10.
I will send Congress a bill to ban sanctuary cities in the first day that I become president.
Trump did not send Congress any bills on his first day. Another broken promise. Number 11.
I'm going to terminate these Green New Deal atrocities on day one.
America never adopted the Green New Deal, so Trump couldn't terminate it. So that's another broken promise. Number 12.
My first day in office, there'll be no more persecutions of Catholics or anybody else.
Another thing Trump couldn't stop because it wasn't actually happening. Unless maybe he's talking specifically about Republicans going after the Bidens, which he didn't do anything to stop either. Number 13.
I will sign executive orders to end child sexual mutilation.
Trump has falsely claimed schools are performing sexual reassignment surgery on children. They are not. Trump can't end a thing that isn't happening in the first place. Number 14. Trump said he'd bring back energy independence on day one. But U.S. energy production was already at an all-time high under President Biden. Number 15. Trump said he'd cut funding to all schools that have vaccine mandates on day one. It's a good thing he broke that promise too, since that's likely all public schools, which is why we don't have widespread child death from measles or polio anymore. Number 16. Trump promised on day one to pardon the violent criminals who brutalized Capitol Police on January 6th. Sadly, that's one promise he kept. Number 17. Trump promised to bring back his Muslim ban on day one. Fortunately, he has not. Yet. Number 18. Trump promised to release his full list of potential Supreme Court nominations on day one, but he did not. Promise broken. There are dozens of other things that Trump promised to do on his first day, he accomplished few of them. I'm Alan Piper at apiper13. Follow Courier Newsroom to stay on top of what this administration does and does not do.